Hey everyone, welcome to Zeitgeist Zealots. I'm Forrest.
I'm Major.
And
Matt.
I'm Robbie. Robbie Matt.
I'm
Hey,
Tim.
one of these days we should
All
probably
right.
set up like an order, like when we're talking. We should
Yeah, I
Well,
thought
that's
I was
kinda
like
what we do.
I was gonna
always.
say,
I thought
like,
it was
you
like
know-
always after Major.
It's usually me, Major, Robbie, Matt, and then Tip. And whenever Spencer, is in, he'll jump in when he jumps in.
I'll
but
just
yeah,
peel over me.
yeah. But today we're gonna. I think today first we're talking about the Let There Be Carnage trailer.
What else are we gonna talk about?
We're gonna talk about Uranus's legacy. We're gonna finish. This is part 2 on Jupiter's legacy. This episode, because
sounds
I think
good.
we've
I
all
like that.
watched the show in the entirety, and we're gonna talk about the Bad Batch. I've watched all 3 episodes. I think everyone else has, for the most part. And I think we're gonna talk about that new Green Knight trailer if we have any time. So let's
Sweet.
talk
Well,
about.
let's get into it. This sounds
Let's
like a lot
talk
of fun.
about Let There Be Fartage. So what did y'all think?
It looks a lot better than the first one.
It looks exactly like the first one, which I don't think is a good thing because basically he was fighting a gray symbiote. Now he's fighting a red one. But to be
The red
fair,
one looked cool.
yeah, but to be fair, like I think Carnage is like at one of those popular villains in the 90s. So like people are going to go flock to see this regardless. Same way.
Yeah, they
Venom
can't. They
made money.
can't mess this up.
And that was like the second appearance of Venom in film. It still ended up a bunch of money. So I think like the first screen appearance of Carnage is definitely going to draw some people to theaters. And I think, vaccinate. Everyone's going to be vaccinated by this time.
Yeah, I liked how it said it was
right?
only in
I'm
theaters.
looking forward to going to theaters again.
Yeah.
Me too.
So I think it'll be a fun. And I know Andy Serkis, Gollum, is directing it. So
That should be good.
he knows creepy monsters pretty well.
Yeah, he has to do them all now. He's like the go-to guy in Hollywood right now for motion capture.
Well, yeah, it's like I don't know if he's actually doing any motion capture himself in the movie, but I know he's behind the camera at least. So
I really like Andy Serkis. I'm looking forward to this.
yeah, I mean, I didn't love the first movie. I think like I saw it late, like after all the reviews came out, maybe like a year after it came out. So I just watched it just for low expectations and because I think I knew about the Carnage tease at the end. So I sat through it and it was, bearable to watch, but I didn't really like the whole good cop, bad cop dynamic that Eddie and Venom had. But it looks like it's going to be on like turning up to level 11 in this movie.
Hopefully you can understand them. Go ahead, Matt.
I just feel Tom Hardy plays the same character in every movie that he's in, so I wasn't really excited to see the first one, but I guess this one looks kind of interesting.
He does not like to play characters who have normal human speech.
Exactly.
No, he's like, you will not understand the dialogue. I will be mine. I'll break your back. It's probably
Yeah,
the
I
best
can't
band I've ever
understand
done.
them. I have to watch with subtitles if I ever watch Peaky Blinders or Taboo.
Dunkirk.
Oh yeah, and his mouth's always covered, so you can't even like read his lips because he has that plain thing on. So,
Speaking of not being able to understand anything, has anyone seen Tenet yet?
oh no,
No,
don't
refuse.
spoil
I haven't seen
if
it.
you
I
can.
completely forgot about Tenet until we started talking about movies that you can't understand anything that people were saying.
Yeah. So let's go over like the trailer like beat by beat. So it started off with Venom making Eddie breakfast. And he looks like pretty miserable with Venom because like his house is a mess. He's probably breaking a few fire codes.
He's just so used to it now.
Yeah.
Seems.
It's kind of just like it's kind of weird because it just like grows out of his clothes, which is kind of weird.
Right? Like, what is happening there?
Like I always I didn't know where it was hiding. I always thought it was like hiding in his butt or like at least under his clothes.
That's what it looked like
Is
at the
it
beginning
kinda
with
like-
the paper towel.
I just
It seems to be like coming out of his skin.
Yeah, but it's like the back of his coat though. And it's like it would make more sense if it like came like out from the collar, not just like, through the
I
coat.
saw that.
It's kind of
It
weird.
would start putting holes in your clothes or something.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird.
It's like having a tail.
Yeah, and so basically, Woody Harrelson is playing Cletus Cassidy, and I guess he's getting a lethal injection, and I guess the symbiote is in the lethal injection. That's how it
I
becomes
can't wait.
Carnage.
Can't wait to see how they mess that up. Now I know like because of the Hippocratic Oath that doctors can't harm a patient. So the people who actually give lethal injections aren't medically qualified to do such. So maybe they mess up a vial, one called Carnage instead of I don't know calcium. Whatever they put in there.
I'm interested to know if Carnage is going to be Venom's offspring, because I think that's how it works in the comics. So Venom's gonna have like a baby, and then like it gets into Woody Harrelson. I'm guessing like when he visits Woody Harrelson, because he's like interviewing him because he's a serial killer.
Right.
And I guess somehow Venom's DNA breaks off from him and gets into Cassidy's system.
It sounds like we're gonna have to watch this movie to find
I
out.
know. It's like they want us to watch this movie or something. That's what this point of this whole trailer was. Strange.
Signs of a great trailer, unlike what we've seen recently from trailers.
Yeah, recently trailers have just been giving everything away. But like I thought this trailer did a really nice job of like adding intrigue, showing some like the dynamics like between Eddie Brock and Venom, like not jumping ahead, but when he's like when Venom comes out of his shoulder and he tries to bite the other guy's head, like that looked cool. I'm actually excited to see this movie more than Morbius. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah,
Jared Leto.
I don't think it's gonna do very well. I mean, it's basically gonna be Jared Leto.
Being Jared Leto.
Yeah, for 2 hours. I think it has Matt Smith in it. He's gonna be like another Morbius or something like that.
That name sounds familiar. Where is he
It's
from?
Doctor Who.
Oh, well, that's not where I know him from. I guarantee you that.
So what I think who else that black lady is playing Shriek, who I don't know much about, but I think she's like Carnage's girlfriend, maybe. So maybe if they had like a because I'm guessing they got Woody Harrelson in this movie because they were going like for a natural born killers sort of vibe, and I guess maybe like Shriek is his partner in crime because she's also in prison. So maybe they'll have that dynamic in the movie. And what else happened? I mean, it kind of looks like I know they didn't want to like make Carnage the same as Riot from the first movie, but Riot really was a lot like Carnage because he had the axe hands, stuff like that. So I like that he's more like has like multiple arms coming out of his body. So
Yeah,
like
I
a
hope
spider
it's
web
live up to its name.
Yes, I hope he kills at least one person.
Is it R-rated? I forgot to check.
No, it should be. I wish it was, but I think Sony is going to be Sony.
Wasn't the first one R-rated?
I mean, you would think like after Deadpool and Logan, they would take a chance, but
They'd be all over that.
I don't know. I think the Japanese are very efficient, and they definitely. I think they're looking at the data, and it's like we could probably make more money for PG-13 than R.
Oh, definitely. It's got a 29. The first Venom movie has a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I'd say
They made over
made a good call.
Made over 800 million though, so I mean, they're just like
It's something to blink an eye at. I bet it only costs like 100 million too.
yeah, but I think it was definitely it was like one of those profitable movies of the year, besides Infinity War, obviously. So, but that's all I had. That's all I really had on it. Any other thoughts on Let There Be Fartage?
Nope. Let the first come.
Okay, let's get into the fun part. Let's everyone's seen Jupiter's Legacy, and I know Major had an unabashed love for this series, so we're gonna let him hear.
I thought it was somewhat interesting, but I'll let you guys get into it first. I know Matt's got some things in the can.
Well, we talked about it in the first three or how far did we get last?
I think we talked about like the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about like the middle and end.
So first off, what do you guys think like about the flipping back and forth?
Well,
I think
it's
they
exhausting.
I thought they kind of made it work, but yeah, there was
I felt they focused. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I felt they focused too much on the backstory at times. I think like episode 5 and 6, more than 2/3 of the episode is devoted to nothing. Just them gathering the team, them getting the boat.
Yeah.
And it was just
that was really dragged out.
Yeah, dragged out unnecessarily.
He had to go meet the dad from that 70s show.
Yeah, but then like episode 7's like almost an hour, or like the second to last episode's almost an hour, and last episode's 30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
pacing gets really weird.
Yeah. I'll admit I actually really did like the scene where they got their powers.
The whole island part was. But it did feel kind of dragged on to get to that point.
It's
though.
like one good episode does not a great show make.
No.
And like the present day stuff, I just didn't care.
See, I hated that episode, and I remember it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was texting you guys because they're on the island, and it's snowing. Yet, nobody's covered in snow. Nobody's hair is whatever disheveled, and it's like legitimately snowing, ankle deep snow. And then they're in the desert. The hair is still perfectly fine. Their clothes are still perfect fine. No one's sweating. You can tell it's in front of a green screen. And then when they're on the cliff, they kind of get a little dirty. But like, it's just that attention to detail. And it was like, it stuck out. Just like in the first episode with the fight, how you can tell they were on, rope being flying in.
Behind them.
I remember Robbie talked hard about the wire action last episode, and then I went into watching Netflix and like watching the show, and it's atrocious. It's the worst wire work I've seen since the 90s.
I mean, like when they cheap out, it's you question why did they chose to not put money into this part of the effects, whereas they chose it in these other parts.
Yeah, you could tell that scene had some potential. They just didn't deliver it well.
Which scene? So one of the prettiest parts was like
the whole big fight with Dark
Star at the beginning. Yeah, like that could have been so cool. That could have been such a good like introduction.
And if you watch like
also, it's super stupid. Like Dark Star was about to kill all of those superheroes, and his son killed Dark Star. I mean, it was a clone, but like I like the moral like questions behind it, and we'll get a little bit more into that after we finish recapping the season. But like that's kind of like a no-brainer. It's like you were about to die, your wife was about to die, all these superheroes were about to explode, and he just kills them.
At a certain point, he's got to have a little bit of understanding, but he is just obsessed with that code, man.
Yeah, I think he's like stick in his butt.
Okay, boomer.
I feel he sees it as like it's the only thing he has left to hold on to, and he doesn't.
The only thing he can control.
Yeah, he can't control his daughter.
Thank goodness he's not like a Nazi, right? Because I mean, like he's from like the 20s and 30s. Like he's stuck in his old 20s and 30s ways. He's very hesitant and reluctant to move to the 21st century.
Well, in the comics, he becomes very Hasidic and almost becomes an authoritarian, basically saying, if the world won't respond, then I'm going to make them respond. But I guess that's going to be a season 2 thing if they have a season 2, which I hope not. But
I mean, I think they can definitely do some major improvements because the flashbacks were definitely the best aspect of the show.
Well, I think at the beginning I didn't like the going back in the 1930s or 1920s, but like at the end of the show, I felt like the flashbacks really held the TV show together.
Yeah. And
like it wasn't my least favorite part to my favorite part.
Okay, can I say every single fighting scene was horrible?
Oh yeah.
The quick cuts, I think Robbie was pointing on it how like you didn't feel the punches. Like they would cut right as a punch is thrown, or right as they throw like a fireball or something, or whatever power they were using.
The camera would cut off, and
the camera would cut off, and he would fly away.
Guess of how it landed.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about The Weeknd? I thought he was awesome.
What?
The Weeknd?
Oh, you mean the Hutch? Was that
Hutch?
The Weeknd?
Yeah. No, it's not. But he looks just like. I mean, he had the old hairstyle. But I like how he plays like this, like just this low life meager character. He's like, he's not trying to get into trouble. He's afraid of like the bad boss. And then at one point in the show, he's like, you know what? Screw you guys. And then he just teleports his little stick into that guy's heart and kills him instantly.
And he's like,
his whole series is like I thought was the most interesting in the present day plot.
Definitely the most interesting part, and the only one who could act besides Josh DeMarme.
But that whole scene where he transports it into the boss's heart totally destroys his character and the first 4 episodes of the character, because why is he afraid in episode 1 and 2 and 3 of this guy who he can just kill? Why is he afraid of these guys? Why is he even fleeing them if he can just transport that thing into their bodies?
Yeah, and like why is he even like making deals with them if he can just like go to a bank and steal as much money as he want with that teleporting thing? So it's like, why is he even like bothering with making deals?
Kind of do whatever he wants.
Yeah. So
at first I was like, that's a lame superpower, and then
I was kind of like worried like when the
it's all how you use it.
Well, it's kind of like when the Utopian had it, I was like worried like he was gonna say like the center of the sun, just transport it there, but that probably might destroy it though.
Another note too at the end with the battle with Blackstar, the final battle, how he's holding his son in a headlock, and it's like, oh, you either kill me or I kill your son. Yet the dude has laser eye vision. Can't he just saw off his arm
Right?
Yeah.
We've seen the son. We've seen the son punch that same character's face in. Like, can't the son just like punch him really hard in the face?
Can you go Super Saiyan or Super Utopian?
Yeah, so apparently he's as strong as them, it seems like.
Yeah, it was a very
they're holding their punches, it looks like. Or I think that's what they're trying to get across, is that they, like, as superheroes, we hold our punches. We don't kill. But times are changing, Boomer.
Good thing Black Star didn't have his armor on, because apparently he kicked all their butts with, completely armorless.
Yeah, so, and where is Darkstar from? He's definitely not human.
I think he's like mutated, because apparently he's like Dr. Bindle or whatever.
They didn't go into that at all.
He's like the Hulk, kind of.
Yeah, do you know who's playing him?
And he can set himself off.
Tyler Maine's playing him, who was like Sabretooth in the first X-Men movie. So it's like that was like 21 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
I liked how he was kind of nerdy, like kind of like a Lex Luthor, just with glasses on, reading a romantic novel in prison.
Yeah, like this about.
I mean, it totally took away from him like being like a bad guy. Like no one's afraid of this guy.
Well, I think they had the glasses on and like the romance novels just to like as more comic relief that like he is somewhat still human.
They've used that in a lot of things.
He was, I think he was
they did.
One of the highlights of the show, though, even though he was only like in the show for like 4 episodes. So, but yeah, I think overall I'd be interested in the second season, because I think like me and Robbie, we at least enjoyed the show.
I enjoyed it.
I was entertained enough just to keep watching it. Like it wasn't like Iron Fist where it was like every.
It got me into it.
Yeah, it was
an ordeal.
Like I said, I think the director and the writer didn't actually. They read the comic but didn't understand it, because the plot is there, and at times it's like frame for frame like the comic book, but it rings hollow. It doesn't like speak to the truth of what. And I think a lot of that is Netflix wanted to make a superhero movie, so they got a superhero director and writer, without understanding that this is not a Marvel kind of thing. This is, this independent comic book that's supposed to be gritty, but big soundtrack. Everything is perfectly framed, and everybody's clothes are nice and shiny.
Yeah.
Nobody's hair is ever messed up.
I hate the hair. The guy looks like like a drunk Zeus or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think
yeah,
but, he does like beer though. But
what did one of the characters
Santa Claus or something?
You got like a bad Santa Claus vibe going on or something like that.
Yeah, it could be Santa Claus yet.
Well, I think what happened was the showrunner, Steve DeKnight, left midway through the series because of creative differences, which is just like a death nail for any show. I think so. They had like scrambled to find a new showrunner. But I don't know. I think like season 2, there'll be a lot more flashbacks. But like when they're actually
more
superheroes,
flashbacks.
But when they're actually superheroes, though, so they'll be more interesting.
It's like
there's like a really cool scene in like the comic where like he kidnaps the vice president during Vietnam, and says he's going to execute the vice president on live TV unless they pull out of Vietnam.
Who, the Utopian?
No, Skyfox, because that's
okay.
We're going to see how Skyfox sort of becomes evil.
Now I'm curious too, because it's Jupiter's Legacy, but the comic books are Jupiter's Legacy, and the backstory is in Jupiter's Circle.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if they bring in more of Jupiter's Circle in.
Yeah,
in
I think
season 2.
Definitely. Yeah, because I think that was like really interesting. Like because I know Blue Bolt's gay, and that's like I think like J. Edgar Hoover tries to blackmail them because they know he's gay, but then they find out that J. Edgar Hoover's gay too, so they blackmail him back. So, so
Tip,
are we turning you on to this show, or you're just like I dodged a massive bullet here?
Well, it depends on the time commitment, to be honest. I mean, if it's exceptional, I'll watch it.
It's adequate, I'd say.
Well, Tip, I think you would like the moral conflicts of the TV show.
Yeah.
For instance, they get these superpowers. Are they chosen? I mean, it's implied that they're chosen. So, like, as they have superpowers, like, should they interfere in wars and politics, or should they just save people from trains and bank robberies? It's like you have ultimate power. Like, what do you do with it?
Yeah. Also, the ordeal wasn't that difficult. I mean, it was difficult, but just like just get to this island without killing each other. Get to this island, touch this rock without killing each other. Boom, superpowers.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard. Just stop being dicks to each other.
Yeah, it was basically telling them that you got to work together.
I mean, to be fair,
all
like
those
in the
people
20s,
who died there were just killing each other.
To be fair, like in the 20s, it's probably like tough to like travel anywhere, much less like on a boat, and to get 6 people.
Talking about the 2020s. Oh,
yeah.
Oh yeah, we're already there now.
Yeah, hopefully we're under the Great Depression before
100 years
29.
later.
I know. I imagine if we're under the Great Depression before the last one, like within 100 years of the last one, we'll have sucked at our the economy, or the Treasury Department will have sucked at their job. But I don't know. I think I'd be interested in season 2. They definitely need to make some definite improvements.
Oh, so one scene I thought was cool, but also had a little questions about, like with Hutch's power rod. It was one of the last scenes when he teleports into that room with no air.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
That was a move
That was
I
really
didn't
cool.
see coming.
Yeah.
So that's like a weakness they found with him.
Yeah.
If he can't tell the rod what to do,
yeah,
he
his weakness is not having air.
But I was also
a
wondering,
lack of oxygen is everyone's weakness.
I was wondering the science behind it, like with that.
Oh, they have that. In real
How
life.
there's no sound. Like that would have to be a total vacuum.
And it's weird, like when he transports it to the guy's
and that
heart,
would do more to you.
Yeah, but it's like,
Yes, yeah, that's a good point.
if like the rod isn't within like hearing distance of him, how can it come back to him? Because like he like transported it like into like the ocean.
He still said it though. I think it's like
I think
linked
he's
to
got like a
him and
mental
his
connection.
blood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, people. Yeah, he even pointed that out. Like
'Cause it's
super
his
exposition
dad.
dump.
And that's why only him and his dad can use that rod, even
Well,
if
the blue
someone else
bolt-
is holding it.
Well, apparently it was Blue Bolt's before it was his. So I think like in the flashback for next season, we'll have.
Yeah,
to
but isn't
find
it
out what happened
because
to
it's
Blue
his
Bolt.
dad? He's able to.
Well, no, the Blue Bolt isn't
or
his
am I
dad.
mixing up who is it? Oh,
Sky-
okay.
Sky
I think
Fox's
I'm mixing
dad.
up whose it was.
Blue Bolt's the gay guy. So
Because they didn't get into too much
Yeah, they
detail
did
of them,
not.
and I don't think I cared about them as enough to remember their names. I guess.
Yeah.
So one thing that bothered me,
I just thought the rod was kind of cool.
the rod is it's definitely cool. It's a unique thing that I haven't seen before, or can't remember seeing before in a superhero show.
But yeah, the whole vacuum and no air made me kind of think about the science.
And like guys who
behind
come in
that.
with scuba suits.
Right.
That's very interesting.
What'd you think
Wouldn't
about the daughter?
when they open the door, wouldn't the air come in too? Like, I don't know.
Maybe
Yeah,
like they're sealed off.
It had to
like,
have
in
been
the
some kind of
hallway.
airlock.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other question I was going to get to was, what exactly was it he was taking out of there?
Some sort of
We
power
don't know.
source.
Yeah, something.
So I was
To
just
find
making
his
sure
dad.
if I
Some
missed a
MacGuffin
detail
for
and just
next
didn't catch
season.
it or something.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
the sad thing about the show is that like you could miss something and you just don't care. You're like, nah, it's not even worth like rewinding for.
Yeah. Also, Brainwave's plan made absolutely no sense. He's like, I'm going to clone Black Star. Hope to God that Brandon kills him before he explodes and kills us all. And then I'm going to hopefully, have some of his brain matter left to like go inside where Skyfox is for some reason. Even though I know full well Skyfox is in there.
Or I thought he put Skyfox
Yeah, so
in
was this
there.
like a crazy luck on the
Well, it's
fly
like,
thing,
he
or
didn't
was it like
know-
a very well planned out evil plan?
It
or
made
something?
no sense. It was like, he didn't know Lady Liberty was going to go in there with him. So like, he didn't know, he had to also had to hope that his daughter would help him. So like, there was just a lot of ifs and buts.
There was a lot of-
It was the Joker in a Dark Knight. When you actually think about it for more than 2 seconds, you're like, wait.
Yeah, a lot of fridge logic.
Yeah, a lot of glad that worked out.
My question is like at the beginning they're like Darkstar has broken out of Supermax prison or whatever, but Darkstar was still in there.
Yes,
so
he
like
just broke
does
out
that
of his
mean like
cell.
yeah? Does that mean he got like the clone got put in Supermax prison and then broke out?
And then they would know that there was a clone. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, like some guards can be like looking at a camera with Darkstar in his cell, and then looking outside and seeing Darkstar jumping over like the fence or whatever.
Yeah, it was
Fridge logic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens if they get a second season. I think I'd be interested, but
Definitely had pros
I think
and
they
cons.
spent like $30 million just to buy all of Mark Millar's works.
That's it. Only
So it's-
$30 million. That's
seems like
super
a-
cheap.
It seems like a waste of their investment just to give up on season 1.
No,
But,
yeah, Netflix does 3 seasons.
Yeah,
Except
they could.
for
I think. Well, they're definitely
couple.
trying to stretch out the show for 3 seasons. It seems, at least.
Yeah, they could do this all in like one, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know. Well, let's move on to the Bad Batch. Good soldiers follow orders. So, I think I watched all 3
God,
episodes.
how many times does he say that?
Yeah, don't take a drink every time he says orders because you'll be dead. You'll be dead 10 times over.
6 drinks later.
Orders.
I like your comparison of Wrecker as the Jar Jar of the show.
Oh yeah, he's not as bad in like episode 3. They sort of toned him down.
Well, yeah,
Like,
that blew my mind. Like Wrecker's like my favorite character.
he was just a little annoying and like and also I think like I know you can very much tell it's an American trying to do an Australian accent, or I guess it's New Zealand.
Omega. It's such a strong accent.
Well, it might be. I think
it makes you wonder, like, where did she learn that? There's no one on Camino who speaks with an Australian accent.
Yeah, well, I think Django, the actor Tamura Morrison is actually from New Zealand, so it's a Kiwi accent, I guess. So.
Oh yeah, so I guess let's just jump right into it. Is that a gender swapped Boba Fett?
No, Omega.
You don't think so? Yeah, Omega.
No, it's Obi-Wan.
She's Obi-Wan.
Oh, interesting.
But doesn't she look like?
Doesn't she?
clones?
Yeah, I thought she looked like the kid.
Why did they clone Obi-Wan?
Yeah, how'd they get Obi-Wan's blood?
Because
I guess
they need to have Force-sensitive clones to sell to the Empire and Palpatine, because they can no longer make Jango Fett clones, and they don't like the Jango Fett clones anymore, so they need even more powerful ones. And if you have a bunch of Jedi clones going around,
yeah,
that
you
can
can't be
control,
a Jedi clone.
you know.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is the whole fixing that plot hole about, clones being Force sensitive.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about Omega joining the squad? I thought it was like kind of cute. I was looking forward to like Bad Batch being like 8 to 10 episodes of just them being crazy, doing stuff, fighting the Galactic Empire. But then the kid came in, and I was like, oh, well, this is kind of sweet. And then I saw episode 3, and I was like, oh, this is the Mandalorian.
So I loved it. I'm watching this with my kids right now, and like in the Mandalorian, he's trying to get rid of Baby Yoda at all times. Baby Yoda's never really part of his crew.
He's always
but right away in this,
off.
right away in this one, in episode 3, she's part of the crew. She's part of the group. They're not going to be trying to get rid of her every chance. And I don't want to spend 10 episodes of how do we get rid of her this week.
Yeah,
it was sort of a dick move in episode 2. It was like, hey, could you like take this kid off my hands?
Yeah,
I know you're raising 2, and that's hard enough. Like, you take this other kid, and like when she left, they were just like, thank God, they did not give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was like it's kind of like it kind of sucks. You gotta like throw a kid on your friend, but luckily she didn't get killed when she was coming back. But yeah, I think definitely they need to. I think give more exposition for Echo. I think he's like the most underdeveloped character so far. And he seems just kind of like
that's funny because he's like the oldest character from the show.
Yeah,
I guess he's from Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Because I've just seen Bad Batch, so like he just seems the most underdeveloped. I mean, I know he's like a former regular clone who joined the Bad Batch.
Yeah,
getting damaged, but I really don't know much about him beyond that.
That's probably why he's underdeveloped, is because they expect you to watch like the Clone Wars, so you already know his backstory. Okay. But basically, he was lost at like I think they were like a battle at the Citadel or something, and presumed dead. A couple seasons later, at season 7, they find out that Echo's still alive because the bad guys know all of the good guys' plans. And so they figure out that like, oh, like there's only one, like it has to be Echo because he knows all of our strategies.
Well, he's sort of like the one that doesn't fit into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles dynamic, because Hunter's the leader, Hunter's Leonardo, Tech's Donatello, Wrecker's Michelangelo, and Crosshair was like Raphael. They sort of like fit the mold, like the leader, the rebel, the fun guy, and the smart guy. And Echo's just like the 5th guy. But I guess we're gonna have to learn more about him. But I think I've seen the Clone Wars, so I'm just like, what's his purpose?
He unlocks doors.
Okay.
Hey, was that R2D2 in the 2nd or 3rd episode? Did you guys see?
No, it wasn't. It was. Oh God, it wasn't though.
Okay, because I was like, it had like the same kind of paint color. Like we've seen those kind of like droid units before, but usually they're black or they're orange or something like that. That was like the first one that had the matching silver and blue.
Do y'all think Crosshair is going to rejoin the Bad Batch later this season, or is he just like forever evil?
No, I think they're going to figure out this inhibitor chip thing.
Yeah, I think they're going to figure out how to get the inhibitor chips out, because Wrecker is definitely going to be the next one to suffer from it.
Oh, okay. So they're all.
My question is, why should I care? Like the problem with Star Wars starting in the middle and then going back to the beginning or whatever, like I've never heard these characters before. Like I've never heard of Omega, and I'm pretty sure I would have, right? So like my question is like, is it gonna be a Rogue One and they're all gonna die at the end of this, and that's why they're not in the rest of the canon, or like where is the show gonna go?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, apparently Ashoka was alive during the original trilogy, and she apparently was not, you know, around for the main events. But the thing is, like, the galaxy is so big that you can have characters like not be participating in like the main movies, but they can
Yeah.
still have a role to play in the lore.
It's the Captain Marvel of Infinity War.
Exactly. I knew you were going to bring that up.
It has no relevance on the main story, but you know, it can still somewhat be told. Yeah, so but I don't know, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm glad they're not releasing it twice a week like they did like the first 2 episodes and just once a week, so I can like, you know, watch one, let it marinate.
Yeah, enjoy it, take it in.
Episode 2 definitely seemed like, well, episode 3, like except for the crosshair sections, definitely seemed like filler episodes. And I think there's gonna be a lot more of those.
I mean, that was like a Mandalorian season 2. I think it was like episode 2 or episode 3. Like,
yeah.
his ship gets damaged trying to escape, and they crash land on a random desert or moon or planet or whatever, in a cave. And there's, you know, it's dark, and there's a creepy thing that's attacking the ship and taking the power cell or whatever.
It's the monster of the week.
Yeah, I was like, this is the Mandalorian. I've already seen this episode.
And why didn't the monster attack her when she was shining the light on it? Because I guess it was like it feeds on energy.
And like, yeah, if it feeds off of battery energy, why would it not be? She's
force sensitive. That's why it didn't attack her. We've seen, you know, all the force sensitive, you know, people talk to, especially in Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah, Rebels. Ezra was all about talking to those animals.
Exactly. So it's kind of a harken to, and I feel like that whole scene where, you know, the monster takes the power cell and everything, it was just almost shot for shot of Empire Strikes Back. It's just a huge nod to that. But my biggest problem, and I was mentioning this earlier, you know, I'm watching it with my kids, and all of us are going like, "What's happening? You can't see crap for half the episode." And
like, I thought that was my TV.
Like, it's the Game of Thrones, you know, all over again. And I'm like, is it my TV? And I'm closing the blinds.
Yeah,
like, I couldn't see crap for half the show.
Yeah, I was surprised how big a role Grand Moff Tarkin has in this show.
He's not a Grand Moff yet, though.
Oh, he's average Moff Mark.
He's an admiral still.
Adequate Moff Tarkin. I guess Admiral Rampart's like, I guess he's like gonna be the main villain this season.
Oh, definitely.
Because he's sort of like Tarkin's right-hand man.
You don't think it's gonna be sniper, no sniping?
Crosshair. Well, Crosshair's gonna become good eventually, but I think Rampart's like the standard Empire bad guy, like Krennic was in Rogue One, or I guess Thrawn was in Rebels. So, you know, they just need a standard Imperial bad guy. And I guess he's that guy. And apparently, we're learning a lot more about the conscripted recruits over the enlisted ones. And basically, I don't know. Apparently, they don't know the difference between conscription and enlistment, because they said, like, we're conscripting recruits, or we're conscripting soldiers. And he's like, enlisted soldiers are being a lot more loyal. I was like, well, are they enlisted? Did they enlist, or were they conscripted?
Exactly.
You know, were they drafted? So it was like,
well, this can be kind of like a Warhammer universe thing where each planet has to send X amount of soldiers.
Yeah.
And the planets enlist people and then say, here you go. So it's kind of a mix of both.
Yeah. So how'd you feel about Crosshair killing that guy who was like trying to not kill the civilians? That was sort of an interesting twist.
Mm-hmm.
He sort of came off as a badass, but then he was like, oh, wait, I'm not this badass. Not that there's anything badass about killing innocent people.
Well, I just like, I love that scene because it gets to the heart of what the Empire becomes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, throughout, you know, the next movies and everything. So I thought it was really well done.
I really want to see more about the Empire, like in its early days, like how it's being built, and you know, the changing of the not the cryptocurrency, but changing of the currency from credits to galactic units or whatever.
The chain codes.
Did you notice too in episode 2?
Blockchain?
In episode 2, the symbol of the Empire has changed. So the clones all have the symbol of the Republic, which has the 8, you know, strands with a sunburst.
Right.
And it's white and black. And this only has 6, and it's black and white. It's inverted. So I thought that was really well, you know, done. You're seeing it come in place now.
Yeah. Do you think there was like one line where like one of the conscripted soldiers said, like, you know, the Empire gives me a place to sleep. That's more than the Republic ever did for me. So it seems like the Republic wasn't perfect, and it seems like
Well, I mean, I guess if you have a clone army, then you don't need regular guys to be in your army. So, like, I guess they were out of a job. Because I was thinking, like, at first, I was like, well, why? Like, if you're a soldier, then why don't you just be a soldier in the Republic? But they were all clones.
Yeah. So, so there's this show. This is like the 4th animated show because there was like Rebels, there was Clone Wars, and there was like one called Resistance, right? That didn't last long.
I didn't see Resistance
because everyone hates the well, it must have sucked to be a showrunner on that show because they came out before Rise of Skywalker and maybe before Last Jedi, so they had no idea what they could do without contradicting the movies, and they probably couldn't know what the movies were doing because they probably weren't written yet, and they were like hastily written. At least the 3rd one was. So that show is doomed to fail anyway.
I don't even think it's canon anymore.
Yeah, I think it's like. Because they probably didn't know that they were going to bring Palpatine back. They probably were going.
No one knew they were going to bring Palpatine back.
Yeah, so it's like that show is doomed to fail. So they just seem to make the sequel trilogy not canon. It was all about it's like Luke Skywalker wakes up from a dream. He goes to the shower. Han's taking a shower, and he's like, "Han, he's dead."
It was all a dream.
It was all a dream. I
would much rather than go to like the Will of the Worlds or World of the Wills. Well, that weird place. And then
like outside the galaxy.
Yeah. No, not like the
like in Star Trek, they just go back in time and negate everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and which is a cop out, but like I don't know how
John Boyega would have a fit on Twitter if they did that.
I am totally fine with the sequel trilogy. I mean, it sucks, but like we're stuck with it. But like I'm glad the Star Wars or the Skywalker saga is over. Let's focus on some other stuff.
What was Leia rebelling against? That's all I want to know.
The Galactic Empire.
The First Order.
No, no. The First Order is not established yet. Her government is established after, the 3rd movie. In fact, they blow up the 2 planets. One of them being the government that they've established.
Is this in Rebels or was this in the
No, this is in the sequel trilogy.
Oh, I remember. I just remember.
Oh, okay.
They were just like, well, the Empire's gone. We need to bring it back. We'll just call it something else, even though it's the Empire. It's just so lazily done. So disappointed. That whole, and there was so much excitement behind it too when we heard there was going to be a sequel to the Return of the Jedi, and it was just like they just
here's a fun fact for you guys. So a little background story. Palpatine was a genius, right? He had several plans in place for possible different scenarios and outcomes. So, when you hear Order 66, you're like, well, what's the first 65 orders or whatever? But I want to give you a little fun fact. Order 69 was one of many orders in a series of contingency orders, which the clone troopers of the Grand Army of the Republic were programmed with. Content, this order demanded that all attractive female Jedi were not to be executed, but instead captured and married to the most successful trooper in the capturing unit. Order 69.
Is that real? Is that on is it on Wikipedia?
It's on the front page of Google.
Okay.
Yeah,
we can trust Google on that one.
Order 69 was a plan to implement bagels to the default clone troopers arsenal. Also, the number 69 is funny because it's sexual. The non-canon Star Wars wiki.
Star Wars story I want to see. I want to see Jabba the Hutt
have sex with Leia. They
it's awful. I don't think she was even there for one night. I think she just got chained up, changed clothes, chained up, and then Luke came in. If you want to talk about ridiculous plans, like that plan was pretty luck based. Or I guess since it's Star Wars, you can call it the Force.
I'm pretty sure if the Solo movie had gotten a sequel, Jabba the Hutt would have factored into it in some way.
Yeah, but they could use like Biggie Smalls as the backdrop music.
like a satellite from our galaxy makes it to the Star Wars galaxy, and the satellite has a lot of Earth pop culture for them to listen to. And
except that doesn't work because this was in the galaxy a long time ago.
Jabba's head explode. So
this beat, it's driving me crazy. There's actually Jabba. You get to see Jabba's mom in the Clone Wars, and she's actually like way bigger, more powerful than Jabba. It's very interesting.
He's kind of a runt.
You're just like, How is the Slug taken over to be like one of like the biggest and baddest like mafias in the galaxy?
Well,
Exactly.
yeah, they have a whole sector of the galaxy, the Hut sector, from
Yeah.
what they control.
Yeah, it's part of the Shadow Council, right? Whatever Maul's, because Maul has his little piece and Jabba has his piece, and
Yeah, they did make a deal with Darth Maul for a while at least, and then are ultimately betrayed by Darth Maul.
oh, okay.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Like
I want to see
everyone
more of
else.
Darth Maul's brother.
Well, we're gonna see like the Book of Boba Fett, so I guess we'll like learn more about the Star Wars Underworld when that comes out.
That should be exciting.
Yeah, so
Ooh.
a lot of cool stuff.
I didn't see Catherine Kennedy's name in the credits. I mean, I wasn't like looking super hard, but that's something that popped out to me.
I'm
Do you
sure
guys,
she's in there
is she
somewhere.
attached to the product still?
I think she still is. It's just they're not really making any movies. Well, they're making the Rogue. I think the Rogue Squadron movie with Patty Jenkins was like the last thing I knew they were announcing for. But they announced a bunch of Disney Plus series. Like they made one for Lando. They made one for Obi-Wan's coming out, obviously. Mandalorian season 3 and Oshaka, and like I think like 3 others. It's like ridiculous.
Are you talking about Ahsoka?
Is that how pronounced? Sorry.
Ahsoka, yeah.
So
Nerd.
I think there's a lot to look forward to, Star Wars wise. And I guess we'll have to watch Clone Wars now.
Thumbs up so far. So
Yeah.
I would recommend it.
So I guess
But
let's
what
talk
do I
about
know?
Green.
I also like the prequel trilogy.
I mean, the sequel trilogy makes the prequel trilogy look like a masterpiece. Just story wise. You know.
I have the high ground.
I actually
from-
saw a cut of the first movie where Jar Jar Binks was replaced. His voice is completely like warbled out to sound like Gungan, and they just gave him subtitles, and
That's
that
amazing.
alone made it so much better.
Yeah.
Which isn't saying much.
Apparently, that the guy who plays Jar Jar was like complaining on Twitter. Like apparently, like Lena Dunham, who does the Girls show on HBO, just walked in HBO with like half a page of an actual plot, and he was like, "I went to film school, and I have a master's in film, and I have like 30 pitch Bibles, and I can't get my show picked up, but Lena Dunham can." And then like I think someone quoted, "Yeah, but you're Jar Jar." They're kind of like a little disreputable, but I
I'm
don't
just
know.
so glad like the internet wasn't very as toxic or as big when like that first one
it
came
was.
out. Like,
He
it
received
was.
death threats. He
Yeah,
received
that's
death
like, he
threats.
was-
He almost committed suicide, I think, because like he like posted like an Instagram post, like I almost jumped off this bridge.
yeah, that's what I
Because
was.
the Jar Jar hate was so
thinking about.
bad. So, yeah,
And
I mean,
that's
it
all
wasn't
George
his
Lucas's fault. Yeah, that's not his
So,
fault.
I mean,
That's George
he shouldn't like feel
Lucas's
bad
fault.
about it. But fans just don't separate. Like the actor was just doing what he was told.
No, I mean we saw that with the Winter
Yeah.
Soldier, right?
Like
Like,
the-
that's how I think it's a testament to how good your acting is. I mean, not for Jar Jar, right? But like for Captain Douchebag, people like he received so many death threats, like he had to go off social media, and that's just because he played such a good asshole.
The kid who played Joffrey,
oh yeah, it's like
Yes.
just fans just don't understand that they're not
still-
like that in real life. So it's
Well, yeah,
like,
but like that's like half the fun is like hating like the bad guy and like
oh yeah, I mean,
I
I
punched
hate him
Joffrey in
too,
the
but
face.
like I'm smart enough to know that he's just acting, and that's probably not how he's like in real life. And if he is,
Oh, yeah.
like you can't like send
well,
death.
he's a
threats.
child actor, so he's probably a piece of shit anyway. But I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. I 100%.
Well, I think
agree
the Harry
with
Potter kids, they turned out okay. I mean, maybe not.
you. Didn't like Daniel
Well,
Radcliffe fuck a horse on stage after Harry Potter?
No, he played an Equus and doesn't fuck the horse. His character is sexually attracted to horses, but he didn't fuck the horse like in real life. It wasn't like a Mexican pony show or something like that. So
I totally forgot.
Mexican pony
That was
show.
a
You
big
want
thing
to?
online.
Yeah.
but I mean, that was like
What's
a play he
Ron
was
up to
in.
these days?
I think he's like doing a show for M. Night Shyamalan, and I think Emma Watson's probably the most successful after Harry Potter. I mean, Daniel Radcliffe's done a lot of stuff too. He was like in that Now You See Me movie.
Wait, I think Ron Weasley owns like an ice cream van and like just gives out free ice cream. I think I
I
remember.
mean, they
hearing
never.
about that.
None of them need to work for the rest of their lives. They're just
yeah,
doing it
definitely.
just they have nothing to do. So, but yeah, let's talk about.
Wait, did you guys
real
know
quick.
Do you guys know Ron Weasley's middle name was Bilious? Ron Bilious Weasley.
It's like call him William. Yeah, it's like Ronald's already a normal name. I have like a weird wizard name. But yeah, anyone watch the Green Knight trailer?
Yep.
Yes.
And
Not
I hope-
like so. Talking about good trailers versus bad trailers, I think this is a bad trailer.
apparently it has the Titans from Attack on Titan in it. I didn't know they were in Arthurian legend. You saw like, they're just walking around like these giant genderless giants wandering around. So I was like, huh, interesting. But it looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm trying to remember what the director did before Green Knight. He directed something else that I can't remember. But A24 is definitely a interesting studio.
Yeah, Matt was telling me more about that.
They did like Ex Machina with Oscar Isaac, that robot movie. They did The Lighthouse. So they're doing like a lot of these avant-garde, very auteuristic sort of films. So
yeah, and they're very hit or miss. They're either the best film you've ever seen or the worst.
Yeah,
there's no in between.
I like it's an actual Arthurian legend, which is actually a pretty interesting story. So I don't know. I think
he's also directing an upcoming Peter Pan movie and a Peter Pan and Wendy movie.
Oh my God! Leave Peter Pan alone. Nobody cares.
Nobody. Why would anyone want to see that IP anymore?
Like even Hook, I don't even like. I didn't even like that movie as a kid. I'm just like, okay, it's
Hollywood
Peter Pan.
should focus on one thing, and that's developing as many Invincible spinoffs and movies as possible.
I just hate this trend of going back and recycling everything. We need to get away from this.
It's just like Peter Pan's just been adapted.
Something new comes out and we hate it.
Big thing later.
Yeah, and like Sherlock Holmes is already like being adapted to death because like the BBC series and the Robert Downey Jr. movies came out at the same time.
And the Netflix series there too.
Yeah, the Eudora Holmes and the NBC Elementary series. So like it was just
bring
ridiculous.
back
Like
Sherlock 2030 or 3021.
Sherlock
what I'm talking
Holmes
about?
in the 22nd century. Sherlock Holmes in the 20s. I remember getting up early to watch that. It was great.
But that's why I like A24 because you get these movies that wouldn't be greenlit by any major studio, and all of a sudden they're greenlit. And at least they give these artists a chance. But like this one, it looks like they take a lot of free license with the actual myth
Arthurian
of the Green Knight.
legend.
Yeah. Well, King Arthur is being played by like a really scrawny guy who doesn't look that intimidating. I would think like Joel Egerton, who's also in the movie, would be a better King Arthur, but I mean, it was just interesting that like that's King Arthur, really.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
No wonder why Guinevere cheats on him.
Yeah. I didn't see her in the trailer, but maybe she's not that impressive either. So, but it has the guy from Slumdog Millionaire in it, so glad he's still around.
Is that the main character?
Yeah, he's Sir Gawain, I believe. Arthur's nephew, obviously. Don't you see the resemblance?
Yeah, no, tons of resemblance.
It's uncanny, but
Well, he did spend time in the Middle East.
King Arthur.
Yeah, according to Robin Hood Men in Tights.
That was King Richard.
No, King Arthur went on the Crusades.
No. King Arthur was before the Crusades. King Richard went on the Crusades.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
But yeah, King Arthur was like when the Roman Empire was still occupying Britain. He's like 5th century.
Oh yeah, sorry, that was incorrect.
Yeah, if you want to see like a historically accurate King Arthur movie, even though I don't know if he exists in history, like watch the one with Clive Owen because that's like the one where the Roman Empire and the Saxons are like fighting over Britain.
What's the movie when the kid's playing baseball and goes to get the baseball and goes back in time and joins King Arthur's Knights around a Night of the Round Table or something?
Something like that, yeah. And he introduces tomatoes to England.
Yeah, and then the British tomato famine happened.
Yep.
Wah, wah, wah. Yeah.
A king in King Arthur's court.
The King in King Arthur's court. Nice. Yeah. That was close to A Night at the
What
Round
was that
Table.
weird Merlin movie you made us watch, Major, at Mrs. Tucker's class?
Oh man, how do you even remember that? I think it was just literally called Merlin.
Yeah, it was called Merlin.
One of my favorite movies growing up.
We're like 9 years old, and there's like a sex scene between Arthur and his sister. And I'm just like,
that teacher,
what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was like,
it's got Sam Neill in it. Helena Bonham Carter, Martin Short's in it. These are huge people. I had no idea who they were when I was. James Earl Jones is in it. I had no idea who these people were when I was 10.
Who did James Earl Jones play? That movie.
Ray Della screen loading.
Ray Della screen loading. Yeah.
Ray Della Montega.
It was like just so weird.
Montagna.
Arthur banged his sister. Now he's got to fight his son. It's kind of strange.
Well, he didn't know it was his sister. He was she had
Still
a magical spell.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, it was like his half sister, right? So it's only half incest.
And to be fair, Europe back then was so inbred. you know.
Yeah, I mean that's what they did. Is like the
I think
nobles
Mary's
like,
sisters. And
fought
I think
with
like
each
first
other.
cousin was like, but I think they knew at least even back then they knew like you can't be banging your sister, man.
Well, I guess like they were trying to marry and consolidate power. So yeah, I guess they usually try.
Well, it was like it was
to,
usually like between different countries though.
yeah.
Like marry like the king of England would marry like the princess of Italy or whatever.
So the Habsburgs for the longest time controlled most of Europe, and it was just a group of cousins that kept inbreeding. And it actually got so bad that I want to say it was Philip in Castile. He had such a jutted jaw that you had to slur your speech because you wanted to talk like the king. So still to this day in that part of Spain, they speak with a very distinct accent because they followed a king who was so inbred and couldn't speak properly.
Wow,
That is incredible.
Yeah, jeez,
that's really cool. That is some fun facts of history. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of history to learn out there.
Royal inbreeding.
Yeah.
As a side note, that I was good. As a side note, that was the start of a long dark path for Forrest.
Of what? I don't have any sisters.
Oh,
that makes it even weirder, Forrest, and more impressive.
But yeah, that's all I really have. So I think that's it for
I got a couple things I want to get off my chest here.
Sure.
Going back real fast to Jupiter's Legacy, let's talk about like casting and stuff. Like, so the people who in the 30s are the same people who play the current day characters, except for the brother, or is that the same guy and just the
same
best
guy?
makeup? That's the same guy.
Yeah.
yes,
See,
it
like
is.
they looked. I thought they looked so different. Like maybe like episode 6, I was like, Kelly, like, who is like Brainwave? And she's like, that's the brother George or whatever. And
It's amazing what hair does to you.
Yeah,
the beard. He goes from like a thin mustache to a full beard.
I think that's another thing. That's actually literally what I was thinking about when I was watching Bad Batch earlier. I was like, damn, like this just shows you, because they're all clones, right? But they're all different and distinguishable because of their hair. And I was like, man, like a haircut really does make a difference.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they don't grow beards. Like,
well, I thought
would grow
of
a
all
beard to cover that face up.
I think of all the actors, I think Brainwave was the best, like thespian out of
You
them.
thought so?
Yeah, I mean, like from what he had, like there was like the scene where he's on the cliff
as a thespian. Yeah, I would.
I think he's probably the most classically trained actor. You need like a British guy to play the villain. Yeah.
I mean, always.
Chloe needs to be replaced completely.
Apparently,
I'll not be mad if that happens.
I've watched her in like interviews. She has like literally like ADHD or like OCD because she's like always fidgeting and really hyperactive.
Might be all the cocaine from.
It really looks like she snorted a line and then like did an interview. She's like
the problem is like they already did a Klaus on a Netflix show. Like I don't need to see another Klaus.
Yeah,
from the Umbrella Academy. Like we already have one junkie.
Yeah, I haven't seen Umbrella Academy though.
Well, she also does super cocaine.
So.
Yeah, what is that blue stuff? I was like, oh, Walter White. I was like, oh, Walter White, baby. Oh, Walter White.
Yeah. It's like Jesse,
get the blue
Hutch, we need to cook. Yeah, it's so weird. Like if he knew who she was, why couldn't he just teleport and get the bag of magic cocaine back?
I mean, he did teleport eventually, but she had snorted it all already. I did think that was like an interesting twist. I mean, it totally like fridge logic. Like when you go back and you think about it, you're like, what? Like if they were dating, why did she like try to throw like his friends into outer space or whatever?
Well, they were dating before he went to go visit her in the hospital. After
they were dating when the car accident happened.
No, they weren't.
They weren't.
They
weren't.
No. She knew who he was because he was Sky Fox's son, but they didn't start banging until after she OD'd and was in the hospital.
Also,
Really?
why is he so afraid of her if he can just put the rod in her heart and kill her instantly?
I think he wants to put the rod somewhere.
Because he doesn't want to incur the wrath of the Utopian.
Yeah, fuck you guys. That was a good joke.
Man. What was the joke?
He wants to put the rod inside of her somewhere else.
I was laughing, Major.
Thank you, Tip.
No, you just signed off again, Major. So
yeah, no, I guess
we kicked you off again because
I guess we'll never know because I'm not going to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, well, there might be
season 2.
We'll see. I think it's getting a lot of views. It was like number 1 in trending for Netflix. Netflix, as long as they're getting the eyeballs, they'll keep making episodes of it. It's kind of like Venom. It's got shitty reviews, but people want to go see it. Made a lot of money.
Will
Like a sequel.
Eminem come out with a follow-up soundtrack to Venom?
Venom,
Carnage,
Venom.
Carnage, Carnage, Carnage.
Yeah.
Oh god.
That was terrible.
Well,
but
I think
Eminem's been
we're
really good lately.
I think we're over an hour, maybe. So, any last thoughts? Major, you want to like plug our Twitter and
Oh,
YouTube?
absolutely. That's my favorite thing to do is plug our social media. Guys, come tweet at us at Zealot Podcast at Twitter, or you can email us at zealotzeitgeist podcast at gmail.com.
All right.
Yay.
I'm Forrest.
I'm Major.
And I'm Robbie.
Matt.
I'm Tip.
All right.
Yeah, I got it right.
Take care, everyone.
Boom. You guys have a great day. Thanks for listening.